I'm gonna rank all of the new cards in the new Eevee Growth Pack, including all of the Pokemon, trainers, and supporting items. And I'm gonna be going over what I think might slip into the meta and what I think is hot garbage. So let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, guys, yes, we're gonna be going over all 69, haha, funny number, of the new Eevee Growth cards. We're gonna be ranking them where I think that they're gonna fit into the meta, if I think you should play them or not. So yeah, we have a lot of cards to get through, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it, with the first one being Tropius. I'm also going to try to have all of the cards pop up either up here or somewhere over here on the side so that you can look at them with me. But Tropius, first card in the set. We're going to go through all of them type by type, but three colorless energies for 60 damage on Cutting Wind. I don't think it's anything crazy. I genuinely don't think this card is going to get any play. Little to no play, if anything, right? So I don't even want to put it in C tier. I feel like D tier as a whole is just like really mean, but genuinely, I don't know why you would necessarily run this card. So, I will be, in fact, putting it in D tier. Now, getting into the evolution, the first one, Leafeon. So, Leaf Blast does 10 damage, but this attack does 20 more damage for each grass energy that you attach onto it, which I think is sick. So this card already does 50 damage on 3 energy, which is just one below the Tropius. But this Leafeon can combo with the other Leafeon that we've had previously, the Leafeon EX, where if that Leafeon is in the active spot, the Leafeon EX, you are able to generate energy onto your grass-type Pokemon who are on the bench, which I think is really sick. I think running a double Leafeon deck would be something interesting. I think it would be something fun. Do I think it'll be meta? No. But I think it could be a very fun deck that people would like to run. So I think I'll put Leafeon. Honestly, I feel like Leafeon's probably... where am I grabbing that from? Whoops. I think Leafeon is honestly probably a C tier mod. I don't know if you guys saw it. Can you see that? Oh, yeah. I have... Oh, wow. Hello. But going into the Serena line. So we have a new Serena line. We have Bounsweet, Steenie, and Serena. Now, the Bounsweet, we're just going to put in basic. It's just a basic mon, right? Nothing crazy with the Bounsweet. It's just standard basic, right? And that's why I have that last tier. I mean, I'm pretty sure the other Bounsweet, I'll look it up right now. I have my game open as well, so we can look some of these up. Bounsweet. Yeah, the other Bounsweet's just 10 less HP and 20 more damage, requires grass energy. I mean, sure, I guess you'd play that one. I mean, it does get one-shot by Ember Charmander, so maybe in some cases you'd want to run the 60 health Bounsweet. I think it really is just your preference at that point. The Steenie, however, 80 health and hits for 40 damage, and you guys saw that I was looking it up earlier. This Steenie, as opposed to the other one that we currently have that does double spin, for where you could flip 2 coins and it does 30 damage per each, so it has a chance of hitting 0 or 60 or 30. I think that lies in the consistency that you want. I would personally probably put this Steenie, again, grabbing from the wrong place, whoops, probably put this Steenie in C tier. Again, C is average, nothing crazy, nothing absolutely, insane. Now this Serena, very interesting. We have to remember that there's that one supporter card that allows Serena to get back to full HP, which is nuts, right? So this Serena having the move Kickdown, as opposed to where you're triple flipping for heads, allows you to reveal a random card from your opponent's hand and shuffle it back into their deck. So I think that's really cool. You're really denying them essentially a draw for that turn, or only, if they don't play any cards, right? You're able to really thin out their deck that way. Not even thin out their deck, but thin out their hand and force them back into the deck to keep drawing. I think that's a sick mechanic. I don't think it's super crazy, right? I think if you're running Serena, you're probably playing for that triple head flip damage deck. But with that being said, I think that this might be able to be used in some cool comps. I can't think of any off the top of my head, to be honest, but I'm going to leave it in B tier. All right, the next one, Applin, just a basic mon, nothing crazy. Now, Appleton is rocking the newest move that we've seen, Sweet Relay. Which, if you guys aren't familiar with Sweet Relay and you haven't looked into the set yet, there's a number of cards. I think it's the Ice Creams and then the Psychic/Fairy food Pokemon that have this move. So what it does is every time a Pokemon uses Sweet Relay, there's damage that adds on, like on top of it, right? So this Appleton Sweet Relay is a default 40 damage for 1 energy, but every time a Sweet Relay is used, you do 30 more damage. So, or sorry, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. So if Sweet Relay was used the round before, it does an extra 30 damage, right? So it'll start constantly hitting for 70. But this being the only grass type Pokemon that knows Sweet Relay, but it is strong. It's hitting for 70. Honestly, I think it's a good like intro card, right? Like just like aggro fighting, like if you're able to get this on turn 2, right? It's only 1 energy, so even if you go first and you're attacking on turn 3 for your first time, you're able to evolve and then Sweet Relay for 40, and then the next turn on round 5 you're hitting for 70. You're only gonna really get outplayed by like Rare Candy or something along those lines that's gonna get damage out faster than you. But I don't hate Appleton as like an early stall. I don't think I'll personally run it. I think I'll leave him in B. I just think the new Sweet Relays is a really cool move. I think it's honestly sick. So now going into the fire types, Flareon. We have basic Flareon, or not basic Flareon, but like non-EX Flareon with 2 energy, assisting heater. So you take a discarded energy from... Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's not discarded. I'm reading these wrong. You take a fire energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. I think this is very strong. Sorry, I did not mean to do that. I'm zooming in on my other monitor. But I think this is a very strong move. For 2 energies, you're able to like use Flareon as an engine for mons on your bench. Now, I know like a lot of fire mons typically like discard their energies, so I can see this being very helpful, especially if you're like swapping out a lot. I would honestly, I don't know if I want to put Flareon in A tier. I don't know if I'm being generous or not. I think it's a solid card, honestly. I think it's solid. Because I think any Pokemon that allows you to pull a card, which we'll get to later, and any Pokemon that generates energy for your other mons, I think is genuinely strong. The only thing I don't like is that it's only hitting for 40. I think that's pretty weak, but I understand that they have to lower the damage to like allow it to have an ability like that. I'm gonna put this for now in the top of B tier. That's where I'm gonna leave him. Now going on to Flareon EX though, I think Flareon EX is very interesting. Once during your turn, you can attach a fire energy from your discard pile onto this Pokemon, and if you do, you take 20 damage. So Flareon will damage itself in turn, taking your discarded energy and allowing it to attach itself, and which is really good for itself because Fire Spin hitting for 130 and discarding 2 energy, I think Flareon is going to be a very strong mon this season. If not, I think Flareon will be A, if not S. Okay. Just the fact that it's fire type, it's gonna be countering maybe not necessarily countering, right? But it'll do relatively strong against Buzzwole. That was probably the best deck that we saw last season, and it'll be super effective against Solgaleo for sure. If you're running like reds, in a Flareon deck, 130 plus the weakness of 150 plus the reds where you're hitting for 170, and Solgaleo being on 180. Typically, most times will be on 170 after attacking you. I think Flareon EX will see a substantial amount of play this season. So I'm going to leave Flareon in A for sure. I don't know what I want to put in S tier yet. I'm going to be honest. I just opened $100 worth of Eevee growth packs, and that video is already on my channel. So if you guys want to watch and see what I pulled, we hit some crazy cards. We hit a lot of the art rares and everything, which was sick. But I didn't really get to read a lot of them because I really just wanted to open them and see what cards I got. But yeah, I'm going through all of them now. So Flareon, I think, would be pretty comfortable in A tier. I think Flareon's going to get a crap ton of play this season. Anyways, going into Torkoal. 2 energy, hits Flamethrower for 70 damage, and you discard a fire energy. So I'm seeing this as like a weaker version of... Well, I guess not necessarily weaker. It's like a tuned version of... What's his name? Turtonator, obviously... Okay, yeah. No, I'm sorry. I was looking up what Kiawe was able to attach energies onto. For some reason, I thought it was Torkoal. But two energy for 70 damage isn't terrible. And I see what they're doing here. Obviously, like, allowing you to use Torkoal and Flareon in the same deck, right? Leading with Torkoal, and discarding energies, allowing you to like charge up Flareon potentially on your bench. Torkoal also only needing, not only, but needing 2 energies to retreat. I think it's just like having Flareon in this deck, or in a deck where like your fire type Pokemon are actively discarding energy, will be like usually strong, because you're not like completely discarding these energies. You're able to recycle them onto Flareon. Torkoal, considering Flareon, again, I think is a relatively average card. We'll just put him somewhere in B. I'm not going to worry too much about like the order that I'm putting these cards in, and we're just going to leave them where they are. But I would put him in B tier, personally. Now, we have another Litten, we have another Torkoal, we have another Incineroar. Personally, looking at this Litten, hitting for 40 damage on 2 energy, and this Torkoal hitting for 50 on 2 energy, I'm not the biggest fan. And that's because EX Incineroar needs damage on him to get like that extra star charge, whatever his 3 energy move is, that can hit for 140 total. I honestly, I think these are just going to go here. I don't think they're too crazy. I personally wouldn't put them over the Litten and the Torkoal that can damage themselves. I think those are way more valuable. Obviously, if you're using this new Incineroar, that is where you're flipping 2 coins to hopefully hit for 200, I can understand why you're using these Litten and Torkoal. But then again, I'm pretty sure we have Litten and Torkoals that don't damage themselves already. So again, in that scenario, like I would probably just use the other ones, because you would want to get that early damage off, and there's no point in running these two and like having that extra, all of that extra damage, or sorry, all of that extra energy cost. Now, looking at Incineroar, however, like this is a funny card. So it does 100 damage for each heads that you flip. So you could potentially hit for 0, you could hit for 100, or you could hit for 200. And this is just a hella meme card. I will, just because of the potential, I will put him in B tier. Just because of the potential. It's just like, it's a Gamba card. It's a gamble card. Like, if you like running gamble decks for fun, I think gamble decks are hella fun, right? Just like, winning on the whim of a coin flip, like when we were playing Buzzwole with Celesteela, there'd be those times where you're playing against the Oricorio, and then you would just have to have Celesteela come out and Hail Mary pray for a coin flip. And low-key, that gets the adrenaline pumping. I can't even lie. So I'll leave Incineroar in B tier. Hitting for 200. If you're flipping heads, if you feel like you're winning the lottery that day, bro, you're low-key cooking. You're low-key moving. So don't see why not. Now this Salandit and Salazzle, I feel like we have better Salandit and Salazzle. I'm looking them up right now. I'm gonna pull up my game really quick. So let's see. We've got this Salandit here that knows Venoshock. This Salandit is 60, hits for 20. Okay, well I guess the Salandit that this is just like a Charmander, essentially. I don't hate it. It's not the worst. But I think this Salazzle is the best one that has come out. The Heated Poison Salazzle, I think this is going to be the best Salazzle that we'll see. That poisons and burns your enemy. Yeah, that is nuts, bro. So what? This is 30. This is hitting for 60, and poison stays on, and they have to coin flip for burn. I don't think that we're going to get a better Salazzle than that. So, with that being said, this Salandit, honestly, I'll put this Salandit... I'll leave this Salandit in basic, because it's pretty much just a Charmander. And Salazzle, I'll leave it in C tier. It's like, it's usable. People might use it. I put it in C tier. It's like, there's just a better Salazzle. Like, there's no point in running this card. There's a better Salazzle in the game already. So I don't know why you would personally run that one, unless you just haven't opened the other sets to get that, specific Heated Poison Salazzle. But other than that, there's just no point in running that guy. Now, finally moving into the water types. I feel like I'm going really slow. Sorry, guys, but I really like looking at all of these cards and like taking my time to like think about them, especially because I'm going through all of them for the first time. And these are like my first honest and genuine thoughts about each card. So, Vaporeon, 120 health, 3 energy, Hyper Whirlpool hitting for 70, Flip a coin until you get tails, and for each heads, you can discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. So again, another card that is utilizing that like Team Rocket ability. For 3 energy, is it worth it? I don't hate it. I don't love it though. But Vaporeon having access to Misty and Vaporeon having access to like, is it Manaphy that auto generates energy? And then there's another Vaporeon, right? Is that an EX Vaporeon? Let me look it up really quick. There's another Vaporeon that like, oh yeah, okay, the Vaporeon that uses Washout. As often as you like, you can move an energy from your bench to your active. Okay, but it's a basic Vaporeon. So, I mean, I think there's good water generation, like running a Misty or running Manaphy. I don't hate this Vaporeon. I don't hate this Vaporeon. We'll throw it in B. I don't think it's actually absolutely game changing, but I definitely don't hate it. Now looking at this Glaceon though, 2 water energy, 50 damage to any one of your opponent's Pokemon. I think it's average. Going in B. Nothing too much. When I watched the trailer and I did the video on the trailer, I thought it was pretty mid. I don't think it's gonna get insane amounts of play. I think it's okay. But taking up an Eevee slot, I think there are just better evolutions than that Glaceon. Do I think it's better than this Leafeon? Because I have this Leafeon in C tier. Obviously, if you're generating crazy energy onto this Leafeon, and if you're running this Leafeon with like Superior or something like that, then this Leafeon could go wicked. But that means you'd probably be running this Leafeon with like 4 Eevees, 2 Leafeons, 4 Leafeons, and then like the Superior line. Unless you're just running these 2 Leafeons with Superior, which could possibly work. I don't hate that idea. Maybe I'll try it. But Glaceon wise, now we'll move him down to C. I think Glaceon's pretty mid, honestly. I think that card's pretty mid. I don't see it getting a lot of play. Now, Vanillite and Vanillish with Sweets Relay. Okay, so the only reason I'm not a fan of like these Mons having Sweet Relay is that it doesn't take advantage of what Alchemy can do. And we'll get into Alchemy later on in the video, obviously, when we get to the Psychic Pokemon. Vanillite is able to hit for 30 damage with Sweets Relay, and Vanillish is able to hit for 50 damage with Sweets Relay. It's very rare that Vanillish is going to be hitting for anything under than 30, or sorry, anything under than 50, because Vanillite will have probably already used Sweets Relay. So in 2 turns, you're hitting for 60 damage, theoretically. Vanillite, you're definitely going in basic. Vanillish in C tier, and then Vanillix, again, it's another Gamba card. 2 energy for the possibility to hit for 160 or 0. I'll just leave him in B tier. These Gamba cards that can hit for a high damage, I'm going to put him in B tier just because it's like, you have the opportunity to hit high, right? Will people play these cards? I don't know. Am I making this tier list totally wrong? I don't know. This is my personal opinion. B tier cards are cards that I would probably personally play, even if it's just for fun. Like that Serena, Appleton, I'd probably use sometime, and I would probably make a deck with the Gamba cards. Honestly, personally, I like the coin flip cards. I think they're fun to use. Now, Alamomola, 3 energy for a 50 damage water pulse and puts him to sleep. Again, like seeing the 3 energy and knowing that we have like these water generation mons. I mean, you could be stalling out with sleep theoretically, but 3 energy, I think, is just hefty, even at that point. I'll probably put... And I think they're just better basic Mons, right? Surely we have better basic Mons than you running Alamomola. Genuinely. I think you're going in D tier. Honestly, I was going to put it in C, but surely we have better Mons than Alamomola, right? Now, getting into one of the highlights, Primarina EX and its line. So let's look at the other Poplios really quick, because we have the ones from last set, right? So we have a few Poplios. We have a Poplio that can use Sing. We have a Poplio that can use Water Gun, and then for 20 damage. And then this Poplio does 30 damage on 2 energy. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not a fan of basic starting Pokemon. Like these like triple evolutions or like these stage 2 lines where the first mon is double energy, I'm not a fan of at all. Genuinely, I think it takes too long to get on. You're like allowing your opponent to not take any damage and just get their stuff online without any pressure. I think the Brionne is fine. Let me look at the other Brionnes that we have. Yeah, the only other Brionne we have is a single energy Wave Splash Brionne. So I actually would probably prefer this Brionne as it being a stage 1. I'll put this Brionne in C, and I'm genuinely putting this Popplio in D tier. I don't like that it takes 2 energy to attack. I'm genuinely not a fan of it. Now, Primarina EX. I think the EX cards in this set are honestly genuinely sick. So we have Hydro Pump, that if this Pokemon has at least 1 extra energy attached to it, it does 40 more damage. So on 2 energy, it should be hitting for 80 if I'm reading this right. And by the time you hit Primarina, you should have 2 energies, right? Populo, when you're at Brionne, at least you're gonna be on 2 energies already, hitting over a Water Gun. And when you evolve to Primarina, you should be on 2 energies. And if you're not, Primarina's probably on your bench being built up by a Misty again, or by Manaphy. So getting to 2 energy is obviously not crazy. And then Sparkling Aria hitting for 100 damage on 3 energy. It's solid. It's genuinely solid. And then healing for 20 damage on that Pokemon is beautiful, honestly. Do we have Watermons that heal? Am I dumb? Yeah, wait, we have Irida. We have Irida, where if a Pokemon has water energy attached to it, then you heal 40 damage. So we're getting that like fun like grass type stall, you know, like that we had with Venusaur Erica, but now we have like a Primarina Irida, like a lesser version of it. But we're still getting like we're getting more funky heal decks, and that's what I like, is that when you're able to like run those really like funky decks, like Gamba Flip Coin, or like those stupid heal decks that like nobody dies in. I could see like maybe someone running this Primarina with a Shaman and just negating 30 damage every turn. I wouldn't hate it, bro. I would love to see it. Maybe I'll play it. Shoot. So, jumping into Jolteon, bro. Are we halfway done? Am I yapping too much, guys? No, we're like halfway done. I've got an ad on the screen. Oh, man. But we have 3 electric types. We've got Jolteon. So, beginning Bolt, 40 damage move on 1 energy, and it does an extra 20 more damage if you evolved it that turn. It's whatever to me, honestly. Do we have another Jolteon? We have a Pin Missile Volt Jolteon that you flip 4 coins and it's 40 damage for each head. I feel like that's definitely a better Jolteon. Beginning Bolt is just like, it hits for 60, cool, but what? It's just gonna faint after. I just feel like there's better electric types to run than this Jolteon, to be honest. Like, I feel like the other Jolteon is stronger, where you're flipping 4 coins and each heads does 40 damage. You can hit for a possibility of 160. So this guy, probably going in D tier. Honestly, probably going in D tier for me. So Joltik now with Jolt. 10 damage. Obviously, it's a basic mon. Flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is not paralyzed. It's 40 HP, though. That's the issue. I mean, paralysis is nuts. I think any status move, obviously, if your Pokemon is able to put status effects on, I think it's solid. But is anyone really running Galvantula? Wait, let me read Galvantula really quick. Electric Shock, 2 energy for 70 is really solid. Honestly, 2 energy for 70. Discard all energy attached to this Pokemon, and your opponent's active Pokemon is guaranteed paralyzed. And it has 0 retreat cost. Okay. So I see what they're doing here. Galvantula. I kind of like Galvantula, I'm not gonna lie. I think he's kind of fun. And he can retreat for free. Ooh, man. Dude, I don't know. Man. Do I jokingly put Galvantula in A tier? What electric type supporters, or do we have electric what is it called? I'm blanking. Do we have electric generating cards? Let me look really quick, guys. There are so many cards. I forget like what half the cards are. Hold on. Let's look at card number. Do we have electricity generating cards? I know we have Magneton, right? But like, can we pass electricity off? We have electrical coil, obviously. trying to think of what else we might have. I had to scratch my eye for a second, guys. What else might we have here? This is the Galvantula from this set, right? Yeah, am I tripping? Wait, that's Mythical Island. Oh wait, we already have this Galvantula, just in a different just a different like shape now? Are we for real? Wait, we already have this Galvantula? Since when? We've had this guy? This has been a Pokemon? Oh, wait, it's something different though. It's 70, but it has a completely different move and it has 1 retreat cost. Oh, I'm tripping, brother. I'm tripping. So here's him. What's our other Joltik like? See, bro, these Mons are terrible. Like, I just don't remember they're there. Okay, 40 and hits for 30. All right, I made up my mind. Joltik, you're going in C tier. Galvantula is going in B tier. I think that Galvantula can be really fun, honestly. I think anything to piss your opponent off is just genuinely fun. I love watching the world burn. Espeon. This Espeon is guaranteed A tier for sure. Attack does 20 damage for all of the energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. I think that is insane. You're going up against Darkrai decks, Giratina decks. If you're going up against decks that like are heavy energy, insane. I think Giratina Darkrai is gonna be forever a meta deck. I don't think there's anything that's going to shake Giratina Darkrai out of the meta. I just think it's such a strong deck combo. Even if it gets shaken a little bit, it'll like drop from like an S tier deck to like an A tier deck. I think it'll just perma-stay in an A tier deck. And I think just having an Espeon just to like play against it, I think would just be solid. Obviously, there's a downfall of like maybe playing into a Rampardos deck. Maybe like a Silvally Rampardos. But even then, I feel like if you're switching Mons out, you'd probably have a lot of energy like spread it across your Mons. I genuinely think Espeon's going to be an insane card this season. I'm going to leave Espeon in A tier for sure. Now we have Woobat and Swoobat. Gust and Psyshot, bro. I'm just going to put both of these guys in basic. Like, it's nothing crazy. I don't think you're ever going to run these two. I mean, maybe. I just don't see these guys getting used. Like, I feel like these are just filler cards. Those two are definitely just like there just to be there. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing with those cards, genuinely? Who's playing those cards? Raise your hand if you're playing with those cards, because if I see you playing with those cards, I'm going to slap you. There are definitely better cards that you can be playing with. Now, these next two, genuinely super excited to play with. I'm super excited to play with, along with 2 more that are coming later in the set. Swirlix and Slurpuff. Now, both of these Mons are running Sweet's Relay. So Swirlix has a 10 damage Sweet Relay that can proc up to 30. And Slurpuff on 2 energy has a 30 Sweet's Relay that can proc up to 90. It does an extra 60 damage. I'm putting both of these cards in A tier. And the reason I'm putting both of these cards in A tier is I'm going to skip these next couple of cards and go right to Milcery, who also is running Sweet's Relays with Swirlix, where they're hitting 10 damage for and can proc up to 30, right? Hitting for 20 more. And the reason is because of Alchemy. And I'm going to put Alchemy in A tier. Dude, maybe I put Alchemy in S tier. Do I put Alchemy as our first S tier Mon? So Alchemy is different than Sweet's Relay, and Alchemy's move is called Sweet's Overload, and it's a 40x move. So this attack does 40 damage for each time your Pokemon use Sweet's Relay during that game. So you're running 3 other Pokemon that are playing Sweet's Relay, and take a shot every time I've said Sweet's Relay. Also, I just realized this. Sweet's Relay on all of these Mons is colorless energy. Meaning you can run this with the Ice Cream and the Appleton. So I'm putting this Ice Cream in A tier. Okay, yeah, that's it. Alchemy's going to S tier for sure. Alchemy is 100% going into S tier, and these guys are sitting in B tier. Yeah, these Sweet Relays guys are sitting in B tier. The colorless ones on Psychic are sitting in A tier. I did not notice that. So you can actually run the Ice Cream Cone with these guys, and you can run Appleton with them. Because Appleton takes grass and Vanillish takes water, respectively. And you could slot the Psychic type Mons into them respectively. And like by the time you get Alchemy out, what, you've probably used that like 4 times at least? Come on, bro. You're hitting for like 120, 160? I feel like that's just nuts. I understand like Alchemy's got 80 HP and is probably going to get one shot, but if you're running 2 Alchemies, bro, come on. I think that'd be fire. I think that's going to be pretty fun. And you're building sweet relay damage off. I think Alchemy is an S tier mon, genuinely. I cannot wait to play with this card. I cannot wait to make a deck surrounding this card. It might be the first one I make. I think Alchemy is going to be such a fun mon to just mess around with. Okay. It's like 2:40 a.m. so forgive me for being a little slow, guys. But we need to go back to the other 3 psychic type mons. So Sylveon Basic or Sylveon on EX, 2 energy, Evo Harmony. It does 40 damage and it does 30 damage for each evolved Pokemon on your bench. Okay. So if you have 3 evolved Pokemon on your bench, it can hit for 190 and 130. Not bad. 2 energy for 40 isn't terrible. If you have another evolved Pokemon on your bench that's hitting for 70, then 110. I don't hate it. I don't think it's like... Dude, this is hard. Because I know there's an Eevee that knows collect in this set. So like you're drawing cards constantly. I'll put it in B tier. I don't think it's crazy. I think it's good. I think it's solid. I don't think it's crazy though. Now the Sylveon EX though. So Sylveon EX's ability is when you play this Pokemon and evolve it, right, from Eevee, you can draw 2 cards. And it hits for 70 on 2 energy, which is naturally strong. However, being psychic, okay, this is something that I saw in a video. I don't remember who said it. I'm sure a couple people have brought it up, but Sylveon EX is a psychic type mon that's weak to metal type, right? So it's taking plus 20 damage to metal type attacks, and it's on 140 HP, meaning that Solgaleo can one-shot it, which is nerve-wracking. And Solgaleo Shiinotic, I feel like, I mean, depending, we'll see how the meta is, but I think Solgaleo Shiinotic is just such a strong deck. Solgaleo gets online super fast on 2 energy with Rare Candy, and then Shiinotic being able to just pull those cards like that much faster. I think it's like playing Sylveon, you're not going to be able to get that damage value off, but you're able to draw cards. So I would love to put... Do I put Sylveon in S tier? Because you could draw those cards? Because I think any other time that you're not playing against Solgaleo, like I feel like it'll do obviously a lot better. And I'm just giving it one use case where it's like if you go against Solgaleo, you're probably screwed. Yeah, I think I'll put Sylveon. Am I overrating Sylveon? Yeah, let's do it. I'm putting Sylveon in S tier. Drawing 2 cards I think is nuts. That's why we don't have another card like Professor's Research, because drawing 2 cards in a deck of 20 is just insane. You're just drawing 10% of your deck for fun. Imagine you play Professor's Research. Let's say it's round 1, right? You play Eevee. And then your next turn, you get Professor's Research, and then you get Sylveon, and then you evolve Sylveon right away. You just pulled 4 cards. I think that's insane, no? I just think the opportunity cost of playing Sylveon is through the roof. So yeah, I'm going to leave Sylveon in S tier. Last Psychic Mon, let's just finish this really quick. Mimikyu. 2 energy, try to intimidate. You flip a coin, choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attack, and use it as this attack. That's kind of crazy. Another Gamba card. Mimikyu, you're going in B tier. Enough said. I think Gamba cards are fun. I think that's kind of crazy. Can you choose? Wait. Yeah, choose one of your opponent's active attacks and use it. Dude, imagine a Stoke Charizard coming out to fight, right? And it uses Stoke, and then you go into Mimikyu, and then you gamble a coin flip. And if you land your coin flip, you just hit him back for 150. That would be insane, man. All right, let's get into these ground types. Barboach and Whiscash. Not impressed with them at all. Not impressed with them. Barboach, you can go in basic. Whiscash. Earthquake for 130. Nice. Like, I don't think we have, like, fighting type generating energies, though. So I'm gonna put him in D tier. I feel like by the time you get online, also with like how strong Buzzwole is and how strong Buzzwole and like the Grass Ultra Beast will be, like Wishcash and Barbush being weak to grass is just such a detriment, and I feel like it'll take so long to get them online. Mienfoo, Mienshao, Kick Shot, 40 damage, flip a coin. If it's tails, it does nothing. You can go in C tier. Low Kick, 70 damage, you can go in C tier too. Why not? I think these cards are okay. If you're making a fighting deck, I think they're solid. Like, just as like starting mons. I feel like there are probably better fighting cards. Let's just take a look at fighting really quick. Shall we? Shall we, team? Let's just take a look at fighting cards. I mean, 70. So this is already just a better Mian Shao. Yeah, I mean, I guess there are better fighting cards. Yeah, like, but that like C is average, bro. Like these aren't anything crazy. Like they're just gonna sit there. They're just gonna take up space in packs that you pull. You know, like nothing insane. But Carbink, hard roll for 30 damage. Flip a coin. If heads during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. Interesting. I think it could be fun. Coin flipper, go in B tier. I don't think it's crazy though. Yeah, I mean, the ability to prevent all damage and effects. There's a perfect world where Carbink never dies. There is a perfect world where Carbink will never die, and you know, will we ever see that world? Maybe. Will I be playing that world? Probably not. But let's get into these dark type mons. We're almost done. But yeah, going into Umbreon, another evolution. So we have Dark Binding, 40 damage, and if the defending Pokemon is a basic Pokemon, it can't attack during your next turn. Now, this being in an Umbreon, in a evolution set, I think it'll be very interesting to see how many basic Pokemon you actually come up against. And I would assume that if you use Dark Binding on a basic Pokemon that can evolve, and then it evolves the next turn, that it can attack, right? Like once it evolves. But again, if you're playing against like legendary EX Pokemon, and you could just completely disable them from attacking, I think it could be very strong. Again, they could just theoretically switch out, but I think it's a give and take. I don't think Umbreon is insanely crazy. Genuinely, I'm going to put Umbreon in B tier. I don't think it's super crazy. But I don't think it's like mid either. Sableye, basic Pokemon, 30 scratch rate. You're going to basic. Like, you're nothing crazy. Now, Purloin, playful knockdown. Discard all Pokemon tools from your opponent's active Pokemon. So we just got a Purloin that knows knockoff, which I think is sick. Lepard's going to go here. It's just a basic. Well, I guess we can put him up here. A dark type that does 70 damage on 2 dark energies. That's fine. Actually, yeah, it's not bad at all. We actually don't have like a lot of like dark types that hit hard, I think, like that, right? I feel like dark type cards aren't that common, huh? But this Purloin, I think this Purloin has its use cases. I'll throw the Purloin in B tier. Why not? Let's shake things up. Now Mawile though. Powerful Vice, 30 damage, flip a coin if heads your opponent's active Pokemon is not paralyzed. These paralyzed cards, bro, there's like a handful of them. 2 energy. It's like, I'm trying to think, like, Mawile is a basic, like, are you actually like leading with Mawile? I feel like it's so hard to just stall out with coin flipping when like Mawile can just get one shot by the time you're like trying to stall with coin flipping. I mean, theoretically, there are times where like when you get Mawile, you're able to build up the bench. I think I'll put Mawile in C tier just because like the idea of being able to stall out with Mawile while you're charging metal energy on your bench. Sure, it's decent. But again, when you have metal types like Solgaleo, and I know I'm comparing a Mawile to a Solgaleo, but it's just like, I don't see a use case for this Mawile, honestly. I mean, it's not terrible, in my opinion. I don't know if people are going to use it, but people might, you know. I could see it maybe getting some playtime in some, like, fun decks, for sure. Togedemaru, 2 Metal Energy, Bristling Spikes for 30 damage during your opponent's next turn. If this Pokemon is damaged by an attack, do 30 damage to the attacking Pokemon. So this Togedemaru has a built-in Rocky Helmet. That's just 10 more damage, which is kind of nuts. Wait, low-key put this guy up in B tier. Low-key, this guy low-key an MVP. Like, dang. Yeah, that kind of hits hard. An extra 30 damage? Theoretically, this guy's hitting for 60 before he goes down. Yeah, that's kind of solid, honestly. We have another Meltan and Melmetal. Let me look at the other Melmetal, bro. Let me look at the other one. Hold on. Oh. All right, there. Now we're looking at metal cards. Let's look at the other Melmetal. Yeah, I think the other two are just better, bro. You're basic, and you... It's like you're not D tier, but are you... You're C tier. Because you could probably run this guy behind... No, you're D tier. I'm putting him in D tier because the other Melmetal is just better, bro. He really is. The other Melmetal is just the better Mon, to be honest. Yeah, just the hard coat on the other Melmetal that we have, where he takes negative 20 damage. It's just genuinely better. We have a new Dratini and Dragonair though, which is what I do love. And let me look at the other Dragonair. I think it's 3 energy for 70, right? If I'm not mistaken. Oh man. Yeah. Oh, it's 3 energy for 80. Okay. So I do like this Dratini. I do like this Dratini because it's basic and you're able to attack like pretty early with it. Now, do I like this Dragonair more than the other one? I'm going to say yes. I think these two are better than the ones we currently have, just because they take less energy. And again, if you're running them with this specific Dragonite EX, you would probably ideally want to use this line of Dratini Dragonair. If you're running the Draco Meteor, or I'm pretty sure it's Draco Meteor Dragonite, the non-EX Dragonite, I could see why you would want to run the other two, because non-EX Dragonite takes 4 energy, then Dragonair before takes 3, and then Dratini takes 2. But then again, with Rare Candy in the game, I'm sure you could just get away with running this Dratini that does 20 damage, so you can at least attack, right? But Dragonite EX, Giga Impact for 180, and during your next turn, this Pokemon can attack. So this Dragonite is killing everything. Is there a Mon that has 190 default HP? I don't think so, right? Like, not accounting for Leaf Cape and not accounting for Giant Cape. Is there a Mon that has over 180? Maybe Venusaur, right? Let me check. Okay, Venusaur EX is 190. But, like, this thing's killing everything else. And when's the last time you saw a Venusaur EX in your game? But he can't attack the next turn. But at 180 HP, you could take a hit. Dude, I think they cooked with these EX cards, and I'm going to put him in A tier. I think he's really good. I think he's solid. Drampa, Dragon's Breath, Colorless Energy for 70, flip a coin. If Tails, his attack does nothing. If Heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is not paralyzed. Wow. I mean, it being Colorless Energy, you can run Drampa in any deck. That's a plus. I'll put him in B tier. Do I want to put him in B tier? Do you want to risk flip nothing? I think risk flipping nothing, like, puts him in C tier. I think it's average. Eevee knowing Collect. What were they thinking making this Eevee set just entirely just draw cards, bro? I'm going to put this Eevee... Okay, hear me out. These next two Eevees, okay? I have my reasonings for why I'm doing this. Eevee number 1, the non-EX Eevee, I'm putting in A tier. The reason I'm putting him in A tier is because being able to draw cards is just genuinely strong. Is it worth risking a move? That's to be determined. I think it's fine. Eevee EX, however. Okay, I was going to put Eevee EX in S tier, but I'll also put it in A tier. Just because the ability to run quadruple EVs and quadruple like evolutions. Do I think it's the craziest thing? No. Do I think it's awesome? Hell yes. I think you could think of this from a competitive standpoint. I'm also thinking of this game from like a fun standpoint, right? And being able to run like a quadruple EV deck, I think would be super fun, genuinely speaking. Like mix matching your Flareons and your Flareon EXs, and then mix matching your Leafeon and your Leafeon EXs. I think it just adds more variety and depth to the game, which is why I'm gonna put it in A tier. Are we gonna see a lot of quadruple EVs running in comp and top 10,000, top 5,000 Master Ball? I don't know. That's to be determined. Probably not, but it's fun. It's fun. What was I gonna say? Snorlax EX. Right. Full mouth banner. At the end of your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, it heals for 20 damage. So it has built-in leftovers. I think that's sick, genuinely. With Rampardos running around, it's hard to say, but this Snorlax is just like a tankier, beefier version than the Snorlax we already have that people have been running with berries. The other Snorlax is 140 and collapses for 100 and puts itself to sleep. This one does 130 and puts itself to sleep. But if we look at berries, right? Your Snorlax is attack costs 2 less energy. And just that alone, so 2 energy for 130? Bro, come on, are we for real? Like, that's definitely... Is that S tier? And heals itself? Bro, Snorlax is going in S tier. I don't care, man. Snorlax is going in S tier. That's a strong card. That's a genuinely strong card. Like, dude, I actually kind of want to run this Snorlax with Solgaleo. You know how there's the old Snorlax deck? Man, never mind. You're going down to A tier. I'm too indecisive. I think he's going to be a fun card, though, honestly. I think he's going to be super fun to play, but, you know, we'll see. That'll be to be determined again. This is all in, like, hindsight. Like, not hindsight. This is all in retrospect, but, I mean, anything can happen, right? Anything can become meta. Going into Apom now, double hit, flip 2 coins, 20 damage for each heads. You're pretty basic. Ambipom, though, has an ability called Catching Tail. Once per turn, you may pull a random Pokemon tool card from your deck into your hand. Are there that many mons that require tools? Possibly. It being colorless means you can run it in any deck, and it having an ability where you can pull tools, I think it's pretty sick. I'm going to put him in B. Do I put him in A tier? Do I want to put him in A tier? What do you really want to be pulling tools for? Because I feel like more recently, tool decks haven't been like as prominent, right? Like in that, sure, you were running 2 tools in Buzzwole, but like is Ambipom worth taking up a slot just so you can pull tools faster with Apom? To be determined, but we'll leave him in B tier. Now we have another chat Tone Deaf. Your opponent's Pokemon is now confused, so auto-confuse off the rip. I don't think it's better than the current chat we have with Mimic. I'm going to put him in C tier. I don't think he's better. I don't think he's bad, though. Audino would do the wave. 20 damage for each of your benched Pokemon. So what? Opportunity to hit up to 60 with 2 energy. Mid-card. Nothing crazy. Minchino, Chinchino. Throw them in basic. Nothing too crazy there. Squovit and Greedent. Okay, so Squovit, again, I hate these mons that are like basic 2 energy attacks, but with Greedent, let's check it out. So Enhanced Fang, if this Pokemon has a tool attached to it, it does 50 more damage. Okay, that's kind of strong. 3 energy and 100 damage. Yeah, that's like low-key a lot of damage. So I can actually see why you would want... I see what the use here is for Ambipom. It's for this Greedent. So, I'm sorry, Squovit. Let's move you up to C and put Greedent in B. Do we put Greedent in A? Dude, these colorless Pokemon are low-key strong. Dude, do we? I don't know. 100 damage, 3 energy? Dude, low key? Actually, I'm thinking about it. Yo, let's put Green in an A tier, bro. Yo, that fat little guy, bro. Let's just put him in A. Forget it. We got four more cards left here. So we have Eevee Bag. Eevee Bag, I think Eevee Bag needs to go in A tier. Just because obviously it's part of the set, right? But so during this turn, attacks used by your Pokemon that evolve from Eevee do 10 damage to your opponent's active, and you can heal 20 damage from each of your Pokemon that evolves from Eevee. So if you have, again, if you're running these quadruple Eevee decks, Eevee Bag is getting massive amounts of value, right? Eevee Bag is 100% getting ran with Flareon, who's damaging themselves. I think Eevee Bag minimum has to go in A tier. The only reason you're not putting Eevee Bag in S tier is because it's such like a niche tool. Or I guess you could technically put it in S tier. No, Eevee Bag is like, if you're playing Eevee, Eevee Bag is like low-key a must, in my opinion. Leftovers. I don't think I want to put Leftovers in S tier just because Leftovers needs to be on your active Pokemon. So that Pokemon needs to be out. Obviously, you're probably going to run Leftovers with Snorlax, which I think is obviously super fun. But I think Leftovers will sit in A tier just because of the fact that it has that caveat of needing to be in the active spot, right? Do I think it's strong? Yes. Do I think it's the best tool in the game? I think Rocky Helmet, like, is still insane. Like, the heal is obviously good, right? Especially, like, if you're running it on that Snorlax, yeah, you're going to run Leftovers. But I feel like the other tools have a lot more use cases, especially not just, you know, taking part while it's on the active spot. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. We're leaving it in A. 2 more. We have 2 supporters. First one is How. And during this turn, attacks by your Decidueye EX, Incineroar EX, and Primarina EX do plus 30 damage. How is going in S tier, and I want no complaints about it because 2 seasons ago, Decidueye was running rampant. Incineroar has always been strong, right? Incineroar has always been nuts, being able to hit for 140, being able to hit for 160 against grass types. Now you're telling me Incineroar is going to be able to hit for 170 or 190 with How? And then Primarina is already a strong card. We've established that. I'm leaving Primarina in A. Like, I feel like How is just an insane card. If you're running Primarina, if you're running Incineroar, if you're running Decidueye, you're going to want to figure out how to make room for at least one How card for sure. And then last supporter, Penny. Look at a random supporter card that's not Penny from your opponent's deck and shuffle it back into their deck. Use that effect of this card as the effect of this card. I think Penny is also going to go in S tier. Just a Mimic card. I think these 2 cards are sick, bro. I think these cards are nuts. Both of them. Both of these supporters I think are super strong. We don't got Looker this set, bro. Like, a card that got no use. Both of these cards are definitely getting used. For sure. Like, I think the randomness and the outplays that can come out of Penny, like, when you're playing, like, especially when you get into Master Ball, right? You start understanding what the meta decks are. I mean, even in Ultra Ball, you start understanding what the meta decks are. You start understanding who and what you're playing against. And you can kind of, like, tell what a player might have in their hand, right? Supporter-wise. And there's the chance of Penny becoming a Professor's Research, which I think would be nuts, right? Like, if you pull Penny off the rip, say you pull Penny with no Professor's Research, you could throw a Penny down and pray that you pull their Professor's Research. I think that would be insane, and that's why I'm leaving Penny in S tier. And with that being said, we finally ran through all of the cards in how long? 50 minutes in an hour. Might have been a little too long. Might have not been. But these are my genuine initial thoughts. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you agree with me on and what you disagree with me on. If you made it this far, please comment down below and let me know what your favorite card is from this set. And yeah, do you guys like my ranking? Do you guys hate my ranking? Do you guys think even though I'm Master Ball, I'm the worst player that's ever touched this game? You might. But let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of this tier list, what you guys think of all of these Pokemon and all of these items and supporters in general. I'm so interested to see how the meta is going to get shaken up this season. I'm going to be pushing for top 1K Master Ball, and I'm super stoked to be running all of these crazy new decks. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. It helps the channel out and me a lot. And I'll be bringing you guys, hopefully, some of the most meta decks that I'm seeing throughout Ranked and throughout Twitter and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I know it was a long video, and I appreciate you guys for hanging out. Hope you have a good one. Peace.